The laughter exploded the moment Ethan Cole walked into the ballroom. "There he is!" Marcus shouted from across the room, raising his glass high enough for everyone to turn. The legend himself. The guy who once got rejected from a fast food job. The room erupted again. Several former classmates leaned over their tables, whispering and grinning as Ethan paused near the entrance. The reunion hall glowed with expensive chandeliers and soft gold lighting, but none of that warmth reached him. He could already feel the old humiliation crawling back into his chest. 5 years. 5 years since graduation, and somehow they still looked at him like he was beneath them. Ethan adjusted the sleeve of his dark suit and forced a calm expression. "Good to see you too, Marcus." Marcus walked closer with the same arrogant swagger he had in high school. Expensive watch, bright smile, loud voice. The kind of man who enjoyed making others uncomfortable. "Honestly," Marcus laughed, circling Ethan slowly. "You clean up better than I expected." Another classmate snorted. "I thought he'd show up wearing that old gray hoodie." "Oh, come on," a woman added while sipping wine. That hoodie deserved its own graduation certificate. More laughter. Ethan recognized every face, every voice, every memory. The football captain who once poured juice over his homework. The girl who recorded him having a panic attack during a class presentation. The group that called him Invisible Ethan because nobody thought his future mattered. Marcus threw an arm around Ethan's shoulder. "Relax, man. Tonight's all about reconnecting." Ethan gently removed Marcus's hand. "Is it?" The smile on Marcus's face tightened for a second. "Oh, don't be sensitive," he replied. "We invited everybody." That was a lie. Ethan had seen the screenshots accidentally sent to him earlier that week. Marcus and the others had planned this reunion like entertainment. Can't wait to see how badly Ethan failed. I bet he still lives with his mother. Someone should hide their wallets. Every message burned into his memory. A waiter approached Ethan politely. "Sir, would you like champagne?" Before Ethan could answer, Marcus laughed loudly. "Make sure he checks the price first." Another explosion of laughter. Ethan looked around the room quietly. Some people laughed because they found it funny. Others laughed because they were afraid to stand against Marcus. Just like high school. Then Ethan noticed Claire. She stood near the back of the ballroom in a dark blue dress, staring at him differently from the others. Years ago, she had been the only classmate who occasionally spoke to him kindly. Marcus noticed Ethan looking at her and smirked. "Oh, still crushing on Claire after all these years?" Claire frowned immediately. "Marcus, stop." "What?" Marcus shrugged dramatically. "Everybody knew he liked you." Ethan inhaled slowly. Back then, Marcus had printed fake love letters and passed them around school just to humiliate him. Claire stepped toward Ethan. "You okay?" "I'm fine. Itanan suerdekadmri." Marcus raised his glass again. "Actually, Ethan, we were just talking about careers before you arrived. What are you doing these days?" The room became quieter. People leaned in, waiting, hoping. Ethan already knew this moment was coming. Marcus smiled wider. "Come on, don't be shy. We all shared our success stories." A man from another table jumped in proudly. "I'm regional manager at Hartwell Tech now." Another woman grinned. "I just bought my second house." Marcus pointed proudly at himself. Senior executive director. 6-figure salary. Then his eyes locked onto Ethan. "What about you?" Silence filled the ballroom. Ethan picked up a glass of water slowly. "I work in cybersecurity." Marcus blinked once, then laughed. "That sounds fancy for unemployed." More laughter exploded. Ethan took a sip calmly. Claire looked uncomfortable. "Maybe you should stop interrogating him." No, Marcus insisted. "I'm interested." "Really? What company?" Ethan set the glass down carefully. "Aurelius Systems." The laughter suddenly weakened. A few people exchanged confused looks. One man, near the corner, frowned. "Wait, Aurelius Systems? The billion-dollar cybersecurity company." Marcus chuckled nervously. "You're right." Ethan reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone as several notifications flashed across the screen. Marcus rolled his eyes. "What now?" Ethan looked directly at him. "Funny enough," he said quietly, "I was actually responding to emails about your company." The room went still. Marcus frowned. "What are you talking about?" Ethan slipped the phone back into his pocket. Hartwell Tech finalized the acquisition agreement 2 weeks ago. Nobody moved. Nobody laughed. Marcus stared blankly. Acquisition? Marcus forced out a laugh, but it sounded weak now. Okay, enough jokes. It's not a joke, Ethan replied calmly. The ballroom felt smaller by the second. Several classmates pulled out their phones almost at the same time. Fingers moved quickly across screens. Eyes widened. Whispers spread from table to table like fire. Oh my God. No way. It's true. Marcus grabbed a phone from one of his coworkers and stared at the article on the screen. His confident expression slowly cracked apart. Aurelius Systems acquires Hartwell Tech in $280 million deal. His face drained of color. Claire looked back at Ethan in complete disbelief. You own Aurelius? Ethan nodded once. Founded it 4 years ago. The silence became painful. The same people who had laughed minutes ago now avoided eye contact. Some suddenly straightened their posture. Others forced fake smiles onto their faces. Marcus swallowed hard. You're serious? Ethan looked around the room quietly. Very. One of the former classmates stepped forward awkwardly. Man, that's incredible. We always knew you were smart. Another quickly added, yeah. Honestly, you were probably the smartest guy in school. Ethan almost laughed at the sudden transformation. 5 minutes earlier, they were humiliating him. Now they sounded desperate. Marcus tried to recover his confidence. Well, congratulations, man. That's huge. Ethan noticed the nervous sweat forming near Marcus's forehead. Then another classmate spoke carefully. Does this mean you're technically our boss now? Nobody breathed. Ethan answered without emotion. Majority owner. A woman who had mocked his clothes earlier suddenly smiled warmly. Ethan, you should sit with us. Yeah. Another added quickly. Come join the VIP table. VIP table. Back in high school, they once locked him in a bathroom during prom because Marcus said losers didn't deserve to stand near the important people. Ethan remembered banging on the door while everyone danced outside. Marcus cleared his throat. Listen, about earlier, we were just messing around. Claire looked disgusted. Messing around? You humiliated him the entire night. Marcus snapped defensively. It was a joke. No, Clyde replied sharply. You've been bullying him for years. The room became uncomfortable again. Marcus looked back at Ethan. Look, man, high school was a long time ago. For you maybe, Ethan answered softly. That sentence hit harder than shouting ever could. Marcus opened his mouth, but said nothing. Ethan slowly walked toward the large windows overlooking the city lights. For a moment, nobody followed him. The entire room watched silently. Claire approached carefully. Why did you even come tonight? Ethan stared outside before answering. I almost didn't. Then why? His voice lowered slightly. Because 5 years ago, I promised myself something. Claire waited quietly. I promised that one day, Ethan said, the same people who made me feel worthless would have to look me in the eyes again. Claire's expression softened with guilt. I should have defended you more back then. You were one of the few people who treated me like a human being. Before she could answer, Marcus suddenly approached again, this time without the arrogance. Ethan, can we talk privately? Ethan turned slowly. Why? Marcus hesitated. There are rumors about layoffs after the acquisition. The fear in his voice was obvious now. My department could be affected. Ethan said nothing. Marcus lowered his pride completely. I have a family now. The irony almost felt unreal. This was the same man who once stood on a cafeteria table mocking Ethan's torn shoes while the entire school laughed. Now his voice trembled. I know I was hard on you before. Marcus continued carefully, but people change. Ethan studied him for several seconds. Then he finally spoke. Do you remember Mr. Bennett? Marcus looked confused. The janitor? Yes, the janitor. Most of the classmates barely remembered him. Old uniform. Kvikman. Always cleaning empty classrooms late at night. When nobody talked to me, Ethan continued. He used to leave the library unlocked so I could study after school. Claire smiled faintly, remembering. Ethan's eyes moved across the room. While all of you were laughing at me, he was teaching me computer programming from old books people threw away. Nobody interrupted. He once told me something I never forgot. Ethan paused. The world usually ignores people before it needs them. The room fell silent again. Ethan reached into his jacket and pulled out a folded document. I came tonight for another reason. Marcus frowned nervously. What reason? Ethan handed the paper to Claire. Her eyes widened as she read it. You bought the old school? Ethan nodded. Gasps spread across the ballroom. The building is being demolished next month, Ethan said. I'm rebuilding it into a technology academy and scholarship center for students from low-income families. Nobody spoke. Then Ethan added quietly, it'll be named after Mr. Bennett. For the first time that night, Marcus looked truly ashamed. Not because Ethan became rich, because the person they all ignored became the one who changed everything. Ethan adjusted his sleeve calmly and walked toward the exit. Behind him, the ballroom remained completely silent. Just before leaving, he stopped briefly and said without turning around, You spent years trying to make me feel small, but never underestimate the quiet person in the room. Then he walked out into the night while the same classmates who once mocked the class loser sat frozen in silence, realizing too late that they had laughed at a future they could never become.